The stars glittered against the endless black of space as the ESS Valiant cruised through the outer boundary of human territory. Commander Lily Bennett stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. She was tall for a human woman, with short brown hair and eyes that had seen more of the universe than most. "Another quiet patrol," said Steve Rogers, her second in command. He handed her a cup of coffee, steam rising from the dark liquid. Lily took the cup with a nod of thanks. "Quiet is good," she said. "Quiet means nobody's shooting at us." The Valiant wasn't built for combat. It was a diplomatic vessel, designed to represent humanity to the stars. Its sleek silver hull housed labs, meeting rooms, and living quarters for a crew of 30 humans. Their mission was simple: patrol the border, show the flag, and keep an eye out for anything unusual. "Captain," called Diane Miller from the communication station. She was young, barely 25, with red hair pulled back in a tight ponytail. "I'm picking up something strange." Lily walked over to her station. "What kind of strange?" "A signal, ma'am. It's weak and breaking up, but it's definitely using galactic standard frequencies." "Put it through," Lily ordered, setting down her coffee. At first, there was only static. Then, through the noise, came a voice high-pitched and musical. The distinct sound of an Iloran. The words were fragmented, breaking apart and reforming. Double quotes, ... under attack, ... Vax forces. Civilians ... need immediate. More static followed, then coordinates, and finally, clear as a bell. "Help us. They're killing everyone." Silence fell over the bridge. The Ilorans were peaceful traders, one of the first alien species to contact Earth after humans developed faster-than-light travel. They were tall, willowy beings with skin that seemed to glow from within and large, expressive eyes. They had approached Earth caution, calling it a death world due to its gravity, weather patterns, and abundant predators. "Those coordinates," Steve said, leaning over Diane's shoulder. "That's HFY, Lily frowned. "The homeworld of the Iloran Federation? Why would they be under attack? And who are the Drax?" Alan Wright spoke up from his engineering console. He was older than most of the crew, with gray in his beard and lines around his eyes. "The Drax Imperium. I've heard rumors. They're supposed to be from the far side of the galactic arm-aggressive expansionists. Never thought they'd come this far into civilized space." "Plot a course to those coordinates," Lily said. "Maximum speed." Steve moved closer to her, lowering his voice. "Captain, we're a diplomatic vessel. We're not equipped for combat. If the Ilorans are under attack, then they need help," Lily finished for him. "And we're the closest ship." "We're 3 light years from the nearest military outpost," Steve reminded her. "If this is a trap, ... Lily studied the stellar map displayed on the central console. The glowing point of light that represented HFY seemed so small, so vulnerable. The Ilorans were allies, not close ones, perhaps, but allies nonetheless. They had shared technology and knowledge with Earth, treating humans with a mixture of fear and fascination. "Send a message to command," Lily ordered. "Tell them we're responding to a distress call from the Iloran Federation. Request immediate military backup to these coordinates. Include the distress signal." Steve nodded, his expression grim. "Yes, Captain." Lily turned to address the entire breach crew. "I know we're not a warship. I know we're outmatched if there's a real threat. But there are people dying out there, and we took an oath to protect and serve. Not just humanity, but all peaceful species in this sector." She looked around at her crewmen and women from Earth and its colonies, all trained for diplomacy and exploration rather than war. But they were still human, still Deathworlders by galactic standards. Their bodies were denser, their muscles stronger, their reactions faster, than most spacefaring species. Evolution on Earth had made them tough in ways the rest of the galaxy could barely comprehend. "Set course for HFY, she said. "Maximum speed." The Valiant's engines hummed as the ship changed direction, accelerating toward the coordinates. In the ship's small mess hall, the off-duty crew gathered around screens, watching the news spread. Rumors flew the Elorans were under attack. A new hostile species had appeared. War had come to their sector of space. In her private quarters, Lily reviewed what little information they had on the Drax Imperium. The data was sparse, mostly second-hand reports from traders and explorers. The Drax were an insectoid species, evolved from hive-dwelling creatures on a world with low gravity and high oxygen levels. They were technologically advanced, but rigid in their thinking. They had 4 arms and exoskeletons standing nearly 7 feet tall. Their society was hierarchical and expansionist, with a religious belief that the galaxy belonged to them by divine right. A soft chime interrupted her reading. "Captain," came Diane's voice over the intercom. "We're receiving an updated message from HFY. It's very weak." "Put it through," Lily said. The voice that came through was barely a whisper, full of fear. "This is Elder Voss of the Eloran High Council. The Drax have destroyed our orbital defenses. They refuse all attempts at surrender or negotiation. Their stated goal is the complete eradication of our species. If anyone receives this message... please help us." Lily closed her eyes briefly, feeling the weight of what they were heading into. Then she touched her communicator. "Bridge, this is the captain. Increase speed to emergency levels. We need to reach HFY as soon as possible." "Captain," Alen's voice replied, "pushing the engines that hard will damage them. We might not have enough power left to get home." "Understood," Lily said. "Do it anyway." As the Valiant streaked through space toward the Eloran homeworld, Lily gathered her senior officers in the conference room. Steve, Alan, Diane, and Dr. Lisa Jones, the ship's chief medical officer, sat around the table, their faces serious. "We don't know what we're flying into," Lily told them, "but we know there are civilians in danger. Our priority is to render aid and evacuation assistance until military backup arrives." "What if backup doesn't come in time?" Lisa asked. She was petite, with dark skin and steady hands that never shook, even in crisis. Lily met her gaze directly. "Then we do what we can with what we have. We're humans. We come from a world that the rest of the galaxy considers too dangerous to live on. Let's show them what that means." The officers nodded, determination replacing the worry on their faces. They were diplomats and scientists, not soldiers. But they were also humans, Deathworlders, and something in their ancient DNA responded to the call to protect those weaker than themselves. As they dispersed to prepare their departments, Lily returned to the bridge. Through the view screen, the stars stretched into lines as the Valiant raced toward HFY, carrying 30 humans to face an enemy they had never seen, in defense of allies who had once feared to even visit Earth. Their backup was coming. But first, the Deathworlders would have to stand alone. The S-Valiant dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Eloran system. The sudden transition from the swirling colors of FTL to normal space was jarring, but not as jarring as what the crew saw on their view screens. HFY, hung in space, a blue-green jewel once covered in sprawling cities and lush forests. Now, great wounds scarred its surface. Fires were visible even from orbit, spreading across continents. The planet's famous floating cities' graceful structures that once drifted among the clouds were falling from the sky, trailing smoke and debris. "My God," whispered Steve Rogers, his face pale in the glow of the screen. In orbit around the planet, massive warships moved with predatory grace. They were curved like giant claws, their dark hulls reflecting no light. Each one dwarfed the sea, valiant by at least 3 times. "Drax warships," said Lily Bennett. Her voice was steady, but her hands gripped the arms of her command chair tightly. "Count?" "7 in orbit," reported Alan Wright from his engineering station. "Energy readings suggest weapon systems we've never encountered before. But ... He paused, studying his instruments. "Their hull composition is interesting. It's remarkably light for warships that size. Survivors?" Lily asked, turning to Diane Miller at Communications. Diane's fingers danced across her console. "I'm detecting transmissions from the surface, Captain. There are survivors in several locations, mostly in underground shelters beneath the capital." "City, put them through," ordered Lily. The main screen flickered, then showed the face of an Aloran. The alien was tall and slender, with luminescent skin that now seemed dim with exhaustion and fear. Large, gentle eyes evolved for a world with less sunlight than Earth blinked rapidly. "Earth vessel," the Aloran said, voice musical even in distress. "I am Elder Voss of the High Council. Please help us. The Drax arrived without warning 3 days ago. They will not accept surrender. They mean to eradicate our species entirely." Before Lily could respond, a harsh buzz cut across the channel. The screen split, showing a new face, if it could be called a face. A Drax commander stared at them with compound eyes set in a chitinous head. 4 arms moved constantly in what seemed to be a form of secondary communication. "Unidentified vessel," the Drax said, its voice translated by the ship's computer into a clicking mechanical sound. "This system is claimed by the Drax Imperium. Depart immediately or be destroyed." Lily stood up from her chair, facing the screen directly. "This is Commander Lily Bennett of the Earth Space Force vessel Valiant. The Aloran Federation is under the protection of Earth and its colonies. Your unprovoked attack on a peaceful species violates galactic law. Cease your aggression and withdraw." The Drax commander's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Earth, the death world. Your protection means nothing. The Alorans are weak. The weak must make way for the strong. This is the natural order. Depart or join them in extinction." The transmission cut off abruptly. Lily turned to her crew, who were watching her with varying expressions of fear and determination. "Options?" she asked. Steve stepped forward. "We're outgunned and outnumbered. Our weapons won't make a dent in those warships. But we can still help," said Lisa Jones from the doorway to the bridge. The doctor had been listening quietly. "We can evacuate survivors. Our shuttle bay can hold a few hundred Alorans if we pack them in." Alan nodded in agreement. "And I might be able to disrupt their targeting systems. Their technology is advanced, but unfamiliar. They might not be prepared for old-fashioned electronic warfare." "Do it," Lily ordered. "Diane, tell Elder Voss to gather as many survivors as possible at these coordinates." She sent the location data from her console. "We'll send down shuttles for evacuation. Lisa, prepare the cargo bays for refugees. Alan, work on those countermeasures." As the crew rushed to obey, a new alarm sounded. Steve checked the tactical display. "Captain, 3 Drax ships are moving to intercept us. They're powering up weapons." Lily's mind raced. The Valiant wasn't built for combat, but it was built by humans designed with redundant systems and surprising durability. Evasive maneuvers. Rotate shield frequencies randomly. They might not have encountered our defensive technology before. The ship shuddered as it changed course sharply. On the screen, energy beams lanced out from the nearest Drax warship, missing the Valiant by mere meters. "They're faster than they look," muttered Steve. "But their targeting seems a bit slow. They evolved on a low-gravity world," Lily remembered from her briefing. "Their neural responses might be slower than ours." Another blast hit the Valiant's shields, making the lights flicker. "Shields at 60%, reported Alan. "But I'm getting good readings on their weapons. If we can hold out a little longer, I might be able to adapt our shields specifically against them." Lily nodded. "Hold position between the Drax and the planet. We need to buy time for the evacuation." On the surface of HFY, the first Earth shuttles landed near the capital city. The pilots humans who had trained for diplomatic missions found themselves in a war zone. Buildings made of crystal and living plant matter lay shattered around them. The air was thick with smoke and the sweet, strange scent of alien blood. Elorans emerged from hiding places, moving with the ethereal grace of their species, despite their injuries and fear. They looked at the humans with wonder. Most had never seen a Deathworlder up close before. "Quickly," urged the shuttle pilot, gesturing to the open hatch. "We don't have much time." In orbit, the battle intensified. 2 more Drax warships joined. The attack on the Valiant. The human ship twisted and turned, using its smaller size and greater maneuverability to avoid the worst of the enemy fire. But it couldn't dodge everything. "Hull breach on Deck C," reported Steve, his voice tight. "Emergency force fields holding." "Shields down to 30%, added Alan. "But I've got something. Their weapons operate on a predictable frequency. Pattern. I can tune our shields to resist them better, but it will take a few minutes." Another hit rocked the ship. "We might not have a few minutes," Lily said grimly. "Diane, status of the evacuation?" "First shuttle is on its way back with 87 refugees," Diane replied. "Second shuttle just landed. Elder Voss reports at least 1,000 survivors at the rendezvous point." Lily's heart sank. They couldn't save them all, not with just the Valiant. "Any word from Earth Command?" "Our distress signal was acknowledged," Diane said. "They're sending ships, but the nearest are still hours away." A massive explosion shook the Valiant so hard that several crew members were thrown from their stations. Warning lights flashed across every console. "Direct hit to our main engines," Alan shouted over the alarms. "We're losing power." Lily grabbed the edge of her console to steady herself. "Reroute emergency power to shields and life support." "Diane, tell the shuttles to hurry." On her screen, Lily could see 3 Drax warships closing in for the kill. The Valiant had fought bravely, but it was just one ship, a diplomatic vessel, never meant for war. Suddenly, Diane's console lit up with new signals. "Captain, multiple FTL signatures detected at the system's edge." Lily felt a surge of hope. "Earth ships?" "Confirming now," Diane said, her fingers flying over her controls. A smile broke across her face. "Yes, it's the Third Fleet, Captain. They've arrived. Early." On the main screen, a new set of ships appeared, dozens of them, ranging from small, fast attack craft to massive battle cruisers. At their center was the ESS Dauntless, the pride of Earth's Space Force. A transmission came through, crisp and clear. "ESS Valiant, this is Admiral Frank Wilson of the Dauntless. Looks like you could use a hand." Lily laughed, relief flooding through her. "Admiral, your timing is perfect. We have civilians to evacuate and some very unfriendly neighbors to deal with." "We received your data on the Drax weapons," Wilson replied. "Good work. Now fall back and continue the evacuation. We'll handle these bullies." As the Earth fleet engaged the Drax warships, the humans of the Valiant realized something important. They had done what no one expected. A single ship of Deathworlders had stood against an alien armada and held their ground long enough for help to arrive. The backup they called for had answered, and now the real battle would begin. The bridge of the ESS Valiant was quiet, except for the steady beep of damage control alerts. Commander Lily Bennett watched the main view screen as Earth's Third Fleet engaged the Drax warships. The space around HFY Prime lit up with weapons fire, shields flaring against the blackness of space. "Damage report," Lily said, turning to Steve Rogers. Steve looked up from his console, his face smudged with soot. "Main engines at 30%. Hull breaches on decks C and E, but force fields are holding. Weapons systems operational, but limited." "And our guests?" Lily asked. "Dr. Jones reports we have 143 Elorans aboard," Diane Miller said from communications. "They're being housed in cargo bays 2 and 3. Medical is treating the injured." Lily nodded. It wasn't enough, not nearly enough, but it was something. "Continue evacuation operations. Get as many shuttles to the surface as we can spare." A new transmission came through. Admiral Wilson's face appeared on screen. "Commander Bennett, we're engaging the main Drax fleet, but we've detected more of their ships entering the system. We need to coordinate our efforts." "The Valiant is damaged, sir," Lily replied, "but we're continuing evacuation operations." Wilson nodded. "Good. We're deploying Marines to the surface to establish secure evacuation zones. Meanwhile, I need your engineer. I understand he's been analyzing Drax technology." Alan Wright stepped forward. "Yes, Admiral. Their ships are fascinating. They're lighter than they should be for their size, and their weapon systems operate on predictable frequencies." "Explain," Wilson ordered. "The Drax evolved on a low-gravity world," Alan said. "Their ships reflect that lightweight materials, minimal inertial dampening. Our kinetic weapons should be extremely effective against them, and their neural responses seem slower than ours, which affects their targeting systems." Wilson's expression changed to one of grim satisfaction. "Excellent work. I'm ordering all ships to switch to railguns and conventional explosives. Keep your data coming, Valiant." Wilson out. The screen returned to the battle outside. Earth. Ships were now firing physical projectiles, chunks of metal, accelerated to incredible speeds, rather than energy weapons. The effect on the Drax ships was immediate and devastating. Where energy shields had repelled laser fire, they provided little protection against solid objects moving at relativistic speeds. "Captain," Diane called out suddenly, "we're being hailed by one of our shuttles. They're under attack on the surface." "Put them through," Lily ordered. The voice of the shuttle pilot came through, broken by static and the sounds of weapons fire. "Valiant, this is Shuttle 2. We're pinned down near the Eloran Capitol building. Drax ground forces have landed. We have civilians with us, but can't reach the shuttle." Lily made a quick decision. "Steve, you have the bridge. Continue coordinating with the fleet. I'm taking a security team to the surface." Steve looked shocked. "Captain, that's not standard procedure, I know." Lily cut him off. "But those are our people down there, and I'm not leaving them." 10 minutes later, Lily was in the shuttle bay with a hastily assembled team. Paul Martinez, the ship's security chief, had gathered 6 officers armed with standard-issue pulse rifles and sidearms. "This isn't a combat mission," Paul reminded them. He was a solid man with a calm demeanor that belied his skills. "We get in, secure our people and the Eloran civilians, and get out. The Marines will handle the heavy fighting." Lily checked her own weapon. "Remember, we're going to a low-gravity world. It'll feel strange at first. Don't overcompensate on your movements, or you'll send yourself flying." The team boarded Shuttle 3, and soon they were descending through Elora Prime's atmosphere. Below them, the once beautiful Eloran capital was in ruins. Crystal spires lay shattered across parks that had been famous throughout the galaxy for their singing flowers. Now those parks burned, thick smoke rising into the purple-tinged sky. The shuttle pilot found a landing spot near the coordinates of Shuttle 2. As soon as they touched down, Lily felt the difference in gravity. It was like being in water, every movement requiring less effort than expected. "Stay sharp," she ordered as the team exited the shuttle. "Remember your training. They moved through the ruins of the city, weapons ready. The sounds of battle echoed in the distance, Earth Marines engaging Drax ground forces. But here, in this section of the city, an eerie quiet had fallen. They found Shuttle 2 behind the remains of a large building that might have been a museum. The pilot, a young woman named Karen Lewis, waved them over from a defensive position. "Captain," she said, relief evident in her voice. "We didn't think anyone would come." "Where are the others?" Lily asked. Karen pointed to a partially collapsed structure nearby. "In there, about 30 Elorans and my co-pilot. We were loading when the Drax troops arrived. They're on the other side of the plaza now, but they patrol regularly." Lily peered around the corner. The plaza that had once been the heart of the Eloran capital was now a battlefield. At the far end, she could see movement, the distinctive four-armed silhouettes of Drax soldiers. "How many?" she asked. "At least 20, Karen replied. "They have energy weapons and some kind of armor. We couldn't make a dent with our sidearms." Lily thought quickly. The Drax were from a low-gravity world. Here on HFY, they would be in familiar conditions. But humans were used to fighting against Earth's much stronger pull. "Paul," she said, turning to her security chief, "how good is your throwing arm?" Paul blinked in confusion, then understood. "Very good, Captain, especially in this gravity." Lily pointed to the small explosive charges they carried for emergency use. "Think you can put one of those in the middle of that Drax patrol?" Paul grinned. "In this gravity? I could probably hit a target twice that distance." They worked quickly, setting up a distraction at the far end of the plaza while preparing to move the Eloran civilians. When everything was ready, Paul took a deep breath, activated the charge, and threw it with all his human strength. In HFY's light gravity, the explosive sailed much farther than it would have on Earth, landing precisely in the middle of the Drax patrol. The explosion wasn't meant to kill, just to confuse and distract. "Now," Lily ordered. The team moved swiftly across the plaza to the collapsed building. Inside, they found the co-pilot and a group of terrified Elorans. The aliens looked at the humans with a mixture of fear and hope, their luminescent skin glowing dimly in the shadows. "We're here to get you out," Lily told them. "Stay close and move quickly." As they began to evacuate the Elorans, the Drax patrol recovered from the surprise attack and opened fire. Energy beams cut through the air, striking the building around them. "Cover fire," Paul shouted, and the human security team responded, their pulse rifles sending blasts of energy back at the Drax. Lily led the first group of Elorans toward Shuttle, 3 while Paul and 2 officers held off the Drax. In the lighter gravity, the humans could move faster and jump farther than they could on Earth. They used this advantage, leaping between pieces of cover that would have been impossible to reach under Earth's heavier pull. The Drax soldiers, despite their forearms and natural adaptation to this gravity, seemed confused by the humans' tactics. They were used to fighting other species that found low gravity challenging. They had never faced opponents who found it liberating. "Last group coming in," Paul called as the final Elorans were loaded onto the shuttle. "We need to move, Captain." Lily fired her weapon at the advancing Drax. "Get aboard. I'll cover you." As the last of her team retreated to the shuttle, Lily found herself alone, facing 3 Drax soldiers who had broken through their lines. The aliens were tall, their exoskeletons gleaming in the strange light of HFY's sun. All 4 of their arms held weapons. In Earth gravity, Lily might have hesitated. But here, she acted on instinct. She leapt a jump that would have cleared a meter on Earth, sent her sailing over the heads of the surprised Drax. As she passed over them, she fired down, her pulse rifle striking the center Drax soldier. She landed behind them, rolled, and sprinted for the shuttle. The Drax turned, their movements seeming slow to her earth-honed reflexes. By the time they fired, she was already aboard, the hatch closing behind her. "Go!" she shouted to the pilot, and Shuttle 3 lifted off, leaving the Drax soldiers firing uselessly at their engines. In orbit above, the battle had turned decisively in Earth's favor. The Drax fleet, unprepared for the humans' tactics and weapons, was in retreat. As Shuttle 3 docked with the Valiant, Lily received a message from Admiral Wilson. "The Drax are pulling back system-wide," he reported. "Your engineers' insights made all the difference. For the first time, the Drax Imperium has been defeated." Lily looked at the Aloran refugees being helped aboard by her crew. These gentle aliens would have been slaughtered without human intervention, without Deathworlders who had evolved on a planet the galaxy feared. "What happens now, Admiral?" she asked. Wilson's expression was serious. "Now, Commander Bennett, the galaxy learns what it means to have humans as allies and what it costs to have us as enemies." 2 days after the battle began, the skies above SciFiPrime were quiet again. The Drax fleet had retreated to the edge of the system, regrouping after their unexpected defeat. In their place, dozens of Earthships now orbited the planet, from small, fast scout vessels to massive hospital ships that had arrived to care for the wounded Elorans. On the bridge of the ESS Dauntless, Commander Lily Bennett stood beside Admiral Frank Wilson, watching the operation unfold on the main view screen. Her uniform was clean, but her face showed the exhaustion of the past 48 hours. "The evacuation is proceeding well," Wilson said. "We've moved over 20,000 Elorans to safety so far." "Out of a population of millions," Lily replied. Quietly, "How many were lost before we arrived?" Wilson's face was grim. "Too many. But without the Valiant's response, it might have been all of them." "Your ship made a difference, Commander." A young officer approached them with a data pad. "Admiral, the Drax have sent a communication. They're requesting a meeting." Wilson took the pad, his eyebrows rising as he read. "They want to talk? That's unexpected." "They didn't expect to lose," Lily said. "No one has ever stood up to them before." Wilson handed the pad back to the officer. "Tell them I'll meet their representative on neutral ground, the space station at the edge of the system, and inform them I'm bringing Commander Bennett with me." Lily looked surprised. "Sir?" "You made first contact with the Drax," Wilson explained, "and your engineers' insights helped us defeat them. I want you there." 3 hours later, Lily found herself aboard the abandoned mining station that orbited a distant moon at the edge of the Aloran system. The station was cold and dimly lit, powered by emergency generators. It had been evacuated when the Drax first entered the system. Admiral Wilson stood beside her in the station's main control room, along with 2 heavily armed Marines. They waited in silence until the station's sensors detected the approach of a Drax shuttle. "Remember," Wilson said quietly, "this isn't surrender. This is a parley between equals. We show no fear." The door to the control room slid open, and 3 Drax entered. In person, they were even more alien than they had appeared on screens. Nearly 7 feet tall, with chitinous exoskeletons that gleamed like polished obsidian. Their 4 arms moved in constant, subtle patterns. Their compound eyes reflected the room in hundreds of tiny images. The lead Drax stepped forward. A translator device on its chest converted its clicking speech to human language. "I am Supreme Commander Kraz of the Drax Imperium," it said. "I come to understand what has happened here." Wilson straightened to his full height, though he was still shorter than the Drax. "Admiral Frank Wilson of the Earth Space Force. This is Commander Lily Bennett of the ESS Valiant, the first ship to respond to the Aloran distress call." The Drax commander's head tilted as it studied Lily. "Your ship is small, weak, yet you challenged our fleet." "We did what was necessary to protect our allies," Lily replied evenly. "Allies?" The Dracs made a sound that might have been laughter. The Alorans are not worthy of alliance. They are soft, fragile. In the natural order, the strong consume the weak. Wilson's voice was cold. That is not our way. No, Kraz agreed. Your way is ... unexpected. You come from a high-gravity world. A world of predators and dangers. By all logic, you should be the ones conquering the galaxy. Yet you protect the weak instead of destroying them. Strength isn't just about destruction, Lily said. It's also about what you choose to build, what you choose to protect. The Drax commander was silent for a long moment, its compound eyes unreadable. We underestimated you, humans. We thought your ships primitive, your weapons inferior. We did not account for ... you, for what you are. And what are we? Wilson asked. Deathworlders, Kraz replied. Evolved in conditions that would kill most sentient species. Your bodies are dense, your reactions quick, your instincts honed. By millions of years of survival, against odds that would break most species. A Drax made a gesture with two of its arms. We have encountered Deathworld species before. They are rare, valuable, but they are also usually ... primitive, violent, uncontrolled. You are different. Lily thought of Earth's long, bloody history, of wars and cruelty and destruction, but also of art and music and poetry, of the drive to explore, to understand, to protect. We've had our violent times, she said, but we learned to channel our strength. Kraz made another gesture, one that the translator couldn't interpret. The Drax Imperium is withdrawing from this system. We will not pursue the Alorans further, not because we fear you, but because you have proven ... interesting, worth studying, before we meet in battle again. Or we could not meet in battle at all, Wilson suggested. The galaxy is vast. There's room for both our species to expand without conflict. Perhaps, Kraz said, though its tone suggested doubt. We will see what the future holds, Deathworlders. With that, the Drax turned and left the room, their movements precise and alien. When they were gone, Wilson let out a long breath. Well, that was enlightening. They're going to come back, Lily said. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but eventually. They're rethinking their strategy, not their goals. Wilson nodded. I know. But we've bought time. And sometimes that's all you need. Back on the Valiant, Lily found her crew working alongside Eloran refugees to repair the damage from the battle. In the ship's mess hall, human crew members shared meals with the aliens they had rescued, communication barriers breaking down through simple gestures and translated phrases. Dr. Lisa Jones approached Lily with an Aloran child holding her hand. The small alien looked up at Lily with enormous eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. This is Nimi, Lisa said. She lost her parents in the attack. She wanted to meet the captain of the ship that saved her. Lily knelt down to be at eye level with the child. Hello, Nimi. The Aloran child reached out one slender hand and touched Lily's arm, as if testing whether she was real. You are from the Death World, Nimi said in halting standard language. But you are not scary, Lily smiled. Earth isn't so bad once you get used to it. It's just ... different. Will you protect us if the Drax come back? The child asked. Lily looked up at Lisa, and at the other humans and Alorans in the mess hall. In that moment, she saw something important to species from vastly different worlds, finding common ground despite their differences. Yes, Lily promised, we'll protect you. That's what friends do. In her quarters that night, Lily received a transmission from Earth Command. The Aloran refugees were being granted temporary sanctuary on Earth's colonies. Plans were already underway to establish a military outpost in the Aloran system to prevent future attacks. And the Valiant, despite being a diplomatic vessel, was being commended for its actions. The final line of the message caught Lily's attention. In light of recent events, all diplomatic vessels are being upgraded with enhanced defensive capabilities. The galaxy has just become a more dangerous place, Commander, but also, perhaps, a more hopeful one. Lily looked out her viewport at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Dracs were regrouping, rethinking their approach to the species they had underestimated. But they weren't the only ones learning. Humanity was adapting too, taking its first real steps onto the galactic stage. The Deathworlders had answered a call for help, and the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months had passed since the Battle of HFY. On Earth's third colony world, Nova Terra, a special complex had been built to house the Eloran refugees. The buildings were designed with their biology in mind lighter gravity generators, dimmer lighting, and architecture that mimicked their lost crystal cities. Commander Lily Bennett, now Captain Bennett after her promotion, walked through the Eloran settlement alongside Elder Voss. The alien diplomat moved with the natural grace of his species, though there was a new weight to his movements after all he had witnessed. Your people have been most generous, Voss said, his musical voice carrying in the quiet morning air. We never expected such kindness from, forgive me, worlders. Lily smiled. That term doesn't bother us anymore. We've come to see it as a point of pride. They stopped at a viewpoint overlooking the settlement. Hundreds of Elorans moved about their daily lives below. Children played in parks specially designed for their lighter frames. Adults tended to gardens where plants from their homeworld were being cultivated. It wasn't HFY, but it was becoming home. The first group begins their adaptation training today, Voss said. They wish to live among humans, outside the settlement. Are you sure they're ready? Lily asked. Earth gravity is much stronger than what they're used to. Voss nodded, his luminescent skin pulsing slightly with emotion. They have been practicing in gradually increased gravity chambers. It is difficult, but not impossible. And they are motivated. Lily understood. The Elorans were gentle by nature, but the Drax attack had changed them. They had seen what happened to those who could not defend themselves in a dangerous galaxy. Captain Bennett. A voice called from behind them. Lily turned to see Dr. Lisa Jones approaching, accompanied by the young Eloran child Nimi, who had been aboard the Valiant after the evacuation. Look who's visiting from the Children's Center, Lisa said with a smile. Nimi had grown taller in the past 6 months. She wore a support exosuit, a lightweight frame that helped her stand and move in Earth's stronger gravity. Despite this assistance, she moved with determination. Captain, Amy said, her voice stronger and more confident than when Lily had first met her. I wanted to show you my progress. With careful movements, she reached up and tapped a control on her exosuit. The frame adjusted, and Lily realized it was providing less support. I can now tolerate 70% Earth gravity, Nimi said. Proudly. Dr. Lisa says that by next year, I might not need the exosuit at all. That's incredible, Lily said, genuinely impressed. You're adapting very quickly. I want to be strong, Nimi said simply, like humans. Lily's communicator chimed. Excuse me, she said, stepping away to take the call. Steve Rogers' face appeared on the small screen. Since the battle, he had been promoted to commander of his own vessel. Lily, are you watching the news feeds? You need to see this. Lily frowned. No, I've been at the Eloran settlement all morning. What's happening? The Galactic Council just concluded their emergency session. The vote was unanimous. The Galactic Council was the loose confederation of spacefaring species that maintained diplomatic relations and trade agreements. Earth had been a minor member for decades, viewed with a mixture of curiosity and caution by the older, more established species. Send it to my pad, Lily said. Moments later, she was watching the recorded announcement. The council speaker, a member of the ancient Threll species, stood at the central podium. In light of recent events in the Aloran system, the Council has voted to extend protected status to all refugee Elorans. Furthermore, humanity has been elevated to full senior member status, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. The camera panned across the chamber, showing the representatives of dozens of species, all standing in a gesture of respect. The actions of Earth forces in defense of a peaceful species, at great risk to themselves, exemplify the highest ideals of galactic cooperation. Additionally, in recognition of the emerging threat posed by the Drax Imperium, Earth has been formally requested to lead the newly formed Galactic Defense Initiative. Lily stared at the screen in disbelief. For decades, humanity had been seen as dangerous upstarts from a harsh world. Now they were being asked to protect the galaxy. She rejoined Voss and the others, sharing the news. The elder Aloran seemed unsurprised. This was inevitable, he said. The comfortable species of the galaxy have lived in peace for so long that they forgot how to defend that peace. They need you, the Deathworlders, who never forgot. Later that day, Lily attended a briefing at Earth Space Force headquarters. Admiral Wilson had called together the captains of Earth's most advanced ships. The room was filled with men and women who had fought at HFY, now heroes throughout human space. The Drax have gone quiet, Wilson informed them, but our intelligence suggests they're building their forces. They won't underestimate us next time. He activated a holographic display showing a new class of Earth warship. Its design incorporated lessons learned from the battle-stronger kinetic weapons, enhanced maneuverability, and dedicated space for alien allies. This is the ESS Unity, Wilson said, the first of our new Guardian-class vessels, designed not just for human crews, but for mixed-species operations. The Elorans have offered their best scientists to help develop new shield technology. The Threll are providing advanced sensors. Even the Volari have offered their expertise in faster-than-light communications. Lily studied the ship design with interest. So we're really doing this? Becoming the galaxy's protectors? Wilson nodded. It's what we're suited for. Evolution on Earth made us stronger, faster, more durable than most spacefaring species. But it also taught us something they're only now learning, that strength means nothing if you don't use it to protect others. After the briefing, Lily walked through the memorial garden that had been planted to honor those lost at HFY. 23 humans had given their lives in the battle. Their names were engraved on stones beneath young trees from Earth. And Elora alike. She found Alan Wright sitting on a bench, looking at the memorial. The engineer had received numerous commendations for his insights that helped defeat the Drax. They've offered me a position designing weapons for the new ships, he told Lily as she sat beside him, using what we learned about the Drax against them. Will you take it? She asked. Alan sighed. I joined the Space Force to explore, not to fight wars. But after seeing what happened to the LORANS, ... double quotes, he trailed off, then nodded firmly. Yes, I'll take it, because next time we'll be better prepared. That evening, Lily received her new orders. She was to captain the ESS Unity once it was completed. Her crew would include both humans and representatives from allied species, including a contingent of Alorans who were training in adapted gravity to serve alongside humans. As she packed her belongings in her quarters, she came across a small crystal flower, a gift from Elder Voss. A piece of HFY, preserved as a reminder of what they had fought for and what they had lost. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had changed with it. No longer were they just the strange Deathworlders from a harsh planet. They had become something more: protectors, defenders, the strong hand extended to help rather than harm. When the call for backup had come from a desperate, peaceful species, the Deathworlders had answered. And in doing so, they had found their place among the stars. Outside Lily's window, the stars shone brightly in the night sky. Somewhere out there, the Dracs were preparing for their next move. But this time, Earth would not stand alone. This time, the entire galaxy would stand together, with the Deathworlders leading the way.